Hey, welcome back to my channel, Just Doing Great Things. Today, we're doing a little spin off of the cinnamon roll recipe I posted here a while back. Today, it is chocolate cinnamon rolls, and let me tell you, they are good, but man, they are rich. I'm going to do a half batch today instead of a full batch, and we're going to throw these together, and I'm guessing they're going to taste pretty good. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Alright, for this recipe we're going to make just a half of a batch. You're going to need 1/4 cup warm water, 105 to 115 degrees, 1 packet of active dry yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1/2 package of instant vanilla pudding, 1 cup of milk, 1/2 stick of unsalted butter melted, 1 large egg that's beaten, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 4 cups of all-purpose flour. Alright, in this cup we're going to start out with warm water that's right around 112 degrees. 1/4 cup. We're going to add the 1 tablespoon of sugar. And the package of active dry yeast. And we're going to stir that up, make sure it's mixed well. And we're going to let it sit until it starts foaming. Alright, so the yeast is alive and working. So we're going to go ahead and start mixing. We're going to add the milk. 1 cup. One-half stick of unsalted butter melted. And we'll go ahead and mix that up a little bit. Go with the egg that has been beaten. The salt. The vanilla pudding mix. Make sure that gets blended in real well. And then we'll add in the yeast and water mixture. And make sure that's blended in. Alright, we're going to remove the whisk attachment and put on the dough hook so that we can now start adding the flour a little bit at a time. Remember, we have altogether 4 cups, so I'm going to try to go a cup at a time, sometimes a little less. Every once in a while I'll stop it and try to work the stuff down from the sides. Has a habit of kicking it up on the sides. And we will continue to do this until all 4 cups are blended in. Alright, now all the flour is in the bowl, mixed in thoroughly. And we're going to take the dough out of this bowl and put it into a container in which we can let it set and rise. I've sprayed a little bit of olive oil inside this container so that the dough won't stick to it. I'll get the dough and put it in that container. We're going to put the lid on it, put it in a warm place, and let it rise for 40 minutes. Alright, after 40 minutes, it's time to punch down this dough and get the air out of it. I add a little bit of flour to the top of it so it won't stick so bad to my hand. And then I'm going to punch the air out of it. And then I'll put the lid back on it and put it back in that warm place and let it rise for another 30 minutes. Alright, now it's time to make the filling for the cinnamon rolls. This can be found at the bottom of the recipe. There's 1/2 cup brown sugar, 1/2 cup white sugar, 1/2 tablespoon of cinnamon, 2 tablespoons of cocoa, and 1/2 to 1 cup of dark chocolate chips. Alright, while the camera wasn't recording, I went ahead and floured the surface and then I rolled out the dough. I'm trying to get it somewhere around 17 by 12 inches. Maybe 20 by 12 is not too bad. But yeah, I rolled it out and then it dawned on me I forgot to hit the record button. So here we are. At this point, we're going to start spreading the melted butter all over the dough that has been set out. Use this brush. I like to go around the edges first. Kind of helps me keep from slinging butter all over everything and getting flour all over everything. I get those outside edges. And then I can just pour it on there and start spreading it with the brush. Try to make this as even as I possibly can. Now using a sifter, I'm going to start putting down the filling for the cinnamon rolls. I like using a sifter because it does a good job of keeping it even somewhat, and I can tell by the butter seeping through what has more on it and what has less, and I can try to even that out. Then I'm going to take the dark chocolate chips, and I'm going to try to spread these out on the dough as evenly as I possibly can. And if at this point you think that this is going to be really rich, well, you're just exactly correct. But man, it's good. And then we're going to start rolling it up. Just working it a little bit at a time, up and down the line. Now the dough is sticking a little bit. It picked up all the flour, but it's still sticking a little bit to the countertop. By the way, I make sure that countertop is very well cleaned before I ever put anything on it. Countertop is a great surface for laying out dough, but you got to make sure that you really clean it before you put something on it. That's a great way to transfer a bacteria from one thing to another if you don't keep it extremely clean and be mindful of bacteria that you can spread from one thing to another. But once again, I make sure the countertops are clean. I make sure my hands are clean. I wash my hands repeatedly. I'm a little OCD about that. I'm going to try to pinch together the very end of this onto the dough. Kind of pinch it together so it doesn't come apart. Because when you cut these cinnamon rolls into pieces, it will come apart and you'll lose all your filling. And we don't want that. We want the filling to be inside that thing. Trying to get a little flour on it to keep it from sticking anymore. And there we go. It is ready to be cut into pieces. Now it's time to cut them into their pieces. If you want smaller, or I guess shorter cinnamon rolls, you make them about an inch. But I like to make mine about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Give them a little bit of height. And sometimes I'll make some that are taller, and then I'll make some that are shorter. And I've greased a baking pan, a baking dish, and the first one I'm going to put about 8 pieces into it, and then the second one I'm going to put what's left. I'm going to make them into smaller pieces. I'm going to put plastic wrap on these and set them on the warm oven for 20 minutes so they can rise again. Alright, now it's time to make the cream cheese frosting. You'll need 1/2 brick of cream cheese softened to room temperature, 1/2 stick of unsalted butter softened to room temperature, 1/2 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1 1/2 cups of powdered sugar, and 2 tablespoons of milk. Alright, we're going to start out by adding the cream cheese. The unsalted butter, and I'm going to put on the whisk attachment this time, and I'm going to blend those two together. Going to add in the vanilla extract. Work it down from the sides. And then start adding the powdered sugar. I'm going to add a little bit at a time until it's all mixed in there together. And once you've got all the powdered sugar combined in the mixture, now we can add the 2 tablespoons of milk. And then you'll mix them until they're combined with the mixture very well also. Alright, I've taken the cinnamon rolls out of the oven and it's time to frost them. I'm going to put a little bit on each one to start with. Just work my way through them. And then I'll come back and put a little bit more. I apologize for the pan being in the way. It kind of blocks you being able to see what I'm doing. But I just screwed that up. So, my apologies. When all's said and done, this is the results. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and thank you for watching my videos. just doing great things. If you would, please like and subscribe and tell your friends. Maybe I can grow this channel.